Vienna, Austria. Overpriced and underwhelming, or well worth a visit?
I'm taking you to Vienna, Austria for a few days to show you some of the highlights, as well as taking you to a surprise location.
Charming.
Yes. Because let's be real, your time, money, and energy are precious. So I want to show you my experience so you can calculate for yourself whether a trip to Vienna could be worth it for you, or just to provide you with some travel entertainment.
Please like and subscribe.
I'm Taylor, and let's get started. And we landed at the Vienna International Airport. I must say, out of all the landside terminals I've been to, this one is the most robust. Like at LAX, I feel like there's just a Dunkin', or maybe that's Boston, whatever, just like a coffee shop, but this is a whole ecosystem.
The simplest way to get from the airport to the city center is by taking the City Airport Train, CAT, or the S7 to the Wien Mitte Landstraße station, or by taking the Railjet Express, RJX, which is an international high-speed train to the Wien Hauptbahnhof. Hauptbahnhof meaning main train station in German. You can buy tickets for all trains at the airport, and which train you take will depend mostly on where exactly in the city is your final destination. So definitely look into that in advance.
When considering accommodations, I would highly recommend staying in the Innere Stadt, which is German for inner city. This is the central downtown area. It's super walkable, it's the historical part of town, and it's filled with attractions, which we shall soon see. Good morning. So our hotel is in the Innere Stadt in Vienna, and the first thing we did this morning is go to a cafe, which was lovely, and we'll go to a lot more of those. But up first is a bus tour.
We took the big bus tour, which cost this much and covers the city's main sites, including the City Hall, which in German is called the Rathaus, and please, it is Rat, meaning council, and Haus, meaning house. The Blue Danube River, and Schönbrunn Palace, among other locations, across two routes, the Red Route and the Blue Route. It's a good value overall, no complaints.
And here we are at the Museum Quarter, which is just an area of the Innere Stadt that houses a number of different museums. As you can see, it's also just like a pretty walking path. And up next, we are going to the Kunshistorisches Museum, which is just German for Art and History Museum.
Built in the late 1800s, the Kunsthistorisches Museum is among Vienna's most popular museums and is renowned for its grand architecture and historical art collections. We got general admission tickets, which cost that much. Honestly, there was a lot of construction when we were there, and not everything was open, so yeah. But it's not the only museum in the area, so maybe you may be more interested in one of these ones.
For museums like this, for me, I feel like I'm way more interested in the curation and the building, like look at all those details, than in a lot of the works themselves. I think this sort of art is all impressive, a lot of times for the historical context and for the details, but I can't say that I'm spending any more than a few seconds looking at any of these paintings. Which sounds bad, but just being honest, because there are a lot of museums in this area, as well as a contemporary arts museum, so those are more your style. Those are worth checking out as well. Also in this area is the Sisi Museum, and one thing I really liked about it is it has an audio tour accompaniment, and the tickets cost that much.
The Sisi Museum has two key exhibitions, one that revolves around the life of Empress Elizabeth of Austria, better known as Sisi, one of Europe's most intriguing royal figures. The other is Kaiser Apartments, which is essentially a palace tour, showcasing the Kaiser's rooms, etc. This museum could be of interest to you if you're intrigued by the Habsburg dynasty or know the lore of the Empress in particular.
Good morning. It is my second full day in Vienna, and it's about 8-10 a.m. right now, and I'm going to take a morning walk and share some of my impressions of the city, including talking about cafes and other fun stuff. I will say personally, I've had a bit of a series of unfortunate events where I keep dropping and losing things, and the biggest thing is my left earring, which it looks like a really simple earring, but this is my most expensive earrings. It's the pair of earrings I got when I got my ears pierced. So they're the ones that I wore in my ears for weeks. And I like to travel in them because you can sleep in them and I don't have to worry about them. I'm slightly kind of low maintenance, but so I'm sad I lost this earring, which brings me to my first point about Vienna, which is that a lot of the stores close really early. So when I lost this earring at like 8 p.m., I'm like, oh, I just want to run out and buy one. And all the stores were closed, not like the restaurants, but all the stores were closed. So, and now it's like 12 hours later at 8 something a.m. and the stores are still closed. So we're going to go to a morning walk and see some sights and go to a cafe. But I can't go to the store because they don't open until like 10 or 11. And that's the trade-off of having a good work-life balance.
I just want to interject and say that I think it's totally normal and reasonable that stores are closed at 8 p.m. and are closed at 8 a.m. I'll just say from my U.S. perspective, even having stores like CVS and 7-Eleven, those types of stores weren't even open at this time, which is just more unusual to me. I don't think a jewelry store would be open that early or that late, to be totally clear. But I just wanted to throw that out there in case you want, a 10 p.m. snack. So why even come to Vienna, Austria? What makes it stand out from other cities in the area? And honestly, I was kind of struggling to answer this question myself. I went to Zurich not too long ago, and it is similar, but I would say that Vienna is grander. And I don't think there's any one thing that makes Vienna stand out, but it's kind of that mix of grandeur and the cafe culture, the opera. It just has a lot of opulence and charm that you can find in a lot of other areas, but you can especially find it here in Vienna. And we will see some more cafes and palaces today. On the topic of things opening late, I stood outside of this cafe until 9 a.m. when it opened, and a lot of them don't open until 9:30, 10. Anyway, this cafe is very Viennese and they have a great coffee culture. So another place I went to was at the Kunshistorisches Museum, which had a beautiful cafe. The cafe that everyone recommends is called Cafe Central, but it's temporarily closed for my trip here, so didn't get to go there. But if you did want a really classic, opulent cafe experience, I would recommend the cafe at the Kunsthistorisches Museum. Otherwise, just look for cafes on the map. I just found this one because it was in walking distance to the hotel, and they're beautiful. So worth it if you're into that. And our next attraction is the Belvedere Palace, which is 3 museums in one place. Howdy. Just checking in, and I wanted to interject. Mein Kanal ist sehr klein und ich würde mich sehr freuen, wenn ihr ihn liken und abonnieren würdet. Vielen Dank.
Apologies, please like and subscribe. Yay.
Right.
Down here we have Lower Belvedere. Up there we have Upper Belvedere, and Upper Belvedere is known for having the famous Gustav Klimt painting. The Lower Belvedere has temporary exhibits, and as you can see, there are these lovely, lovely gardens in between. So tickets are kind of expensive, so we're only going to see the Upper Belvedere, but you can buy a combined ticket to see the Lower and Upper Belvedere. And there's another Belvedere building, which is way over there, and it is for contemporary art, so you can see that as well. The Kiss by Gustav Klimt is like Paris's Mona Lisa, except you don't have to stand in an uber long line to take a photo of it. Rather, you can just gather on round. But yeah, like I said, I only went to the Upper Belvedere Museum, which has the permanent collection of paintings. I would personally recommend this museum more so for the experience of seeing this spectacular venue and perhaps this great work of art, The Kiss. Though I will be totally honest and say that this museum really didn't speak to me otherwise, which is just a reflection of my personal interests, not of the museum quality or its broad appeal, obviously. And sorry that I say it like that, but some of you do come at me because I personally don't like something. Like, I never comment negatively with bad intentions. Some of you will say, well, intentions don't matter. And I disagree. I think intentions do matter, but that intentions do not always fully absolve the act itself. But I digressed. I'm going to a couple surprise locations in this vlog later, but now let's talk about the food. Regarding food, Vienna is most known for its Wiener Schnitzel, which if you speak German already makes sense, as the word Wiener, or in German Wiener, is the adjectival form of the word Vienna, which in German is Wien. And the word Schnitzel essentially means cutlet, as Schnitt is cut. So if you know the word Kaiserschnitt in German, which is a fun one, you already know that word as well. And as far as desserts go, Vienna is really well known for its
Sachertorte, which is a double layer chocolate cake. It looks like that. And it's Apfelstrudel, which is just like it sounds, apple strudel.
Also, Vienna is known for their drink, the melange, which is very similar to a cappuccino, but not quite. And I've described it on screen because I don't want to mess up one of the small details which makes it stand out. Also, weird note, but unlike in the US, cappuccinos often come with cacao powder on them. So if you don't like that, then get the melange, not the cappuccino, I guess.
Hands down, my favorite thing to do when traveling is taking a day trip or mini excursion elsewhere. For example, when I went to Dublin, Ireland, I also went to Cork County to see the Blarney Stone. When I went to Zurich, Switzerland, I also went to Liechtenstein. Even closer to home, when I went to Toronto, I also went to Niagara Falls. And when I went to Dallas, I also went to see Fort Worth. And I get it, travel is expensive, but if you're already paying hundreds or even thousands of dollars, paying an additional $100 for a bus trip to see something new is definitely more cost effective than booking an entirely separate vacation to see that new thing. So this next trip is going to be awesome, and we're going to see 2 additional European capitals. Lego. And today we're doing a bus tour leaving Vienna, and it's a 12-hour tour, and we're going first to Budapest. So I think we're in Hungary. I think we're in Hungary because I was asleep for the bus tour because these all start early, and I think for me some of these can be kind of hit or miss, and this one I will say the first thing I noticed was that the bus was a van, so it was a small van, and I'm in the back of the van, which is fine. I was just sleeping, but our first stop is this lovely gas station which just has great fresh food, and I'm just impressed by this. Also, as you can see, I fixed my hat, so I added I cut up a t-shirt and I sewed it in because I didn't like the holes in the hat. So I'm very happy with that, which is why I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Obviously, I could have started sewing earlier, but it's not what happened.
We booked this tour on Get Your Guide, and it cost this much. Yes, it's expensive, but you really do see a lot in a full day with an expert guide, so consider it.
There was so much traffic, but we just arrived to Budapest, and it's about noon, and it looks beautiful from the bus, and it's going to be a long day. So we did a walking tour, which began in Liberty Square, and then we passed by Parliament, which is a grand, spectacular building. And we walked along the Danube, which is Europe's second longest river. And it's also the river that used to split Buda and Pest before these cities were combined into United Budapest in 1873. And we just had lunch, and now we have free time, so we're just walking around. And the thing I just show you is just like, this is what Budapest looks like, because this is not, this isn't what I really thought of when I think of Budapest. So this is what it looks like if this is a place you want to come.
Then we got on the bus and went to the opposite side of the river, to the Buda side. And honestly, this was just splendid, gorgeous, stunning, magnificent, and just a lot of adjectives for beautiful. Pulchritudinous, which is a harsh 5-syllable word for something of splendor and attraction.
And then up next, we're going to Slovakia.
Then we got on the bus and drove 2-ish hours to Bratislava, which is Slovakia's national capital as well as its biggest city. It looks a little like this. The population of the city is about 1 million people, and it also has an old town, which is very common for many big European cities.
So I'm in Bratislava now, and it's really cool to see more than one place. However, I will say it was a very long day, and if I had to choose one, just Budapest or Bratislava, I would choose Budapest, but it's cool to see both. Guten Morgen. Today is my last day in Vienna, and I want to show you one more cool site. But before we jump into that, I just want to share a few quick tips to help make your Vienna travel a little smoother. City-wise, Vienna is kind of spread out, so do consider taking a bus tour. We did a 2-day one, and it's a hop-on, hop-off one, so you can go to different parts of the city and get back on, and they have set times that they run during the day. And this one has 2 different routes, so it's a good way to just have transportation. Consider booking some tours or museum tickets in advance. Vienna is super popular with tourists, especially in the summer months, so things can sell out and do sometimes, so look into that. Random side note, also ignore my hat. I got a new hat, I love it, but it has holes in it, which allow for the sun to hit my skin, which I'm trying to protect with this paper. I will have a more permanent solution when I get back home. Not the point. Point is, random side note, I haven't seen a single dog yet in Vienna. Now, I'm sure they exist, but where?
Consider taking an evening walk downtown in the Innere Stadt. It's just splendid, especially near St. Stephen's Cathedral. Consider seeing Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna. Now, this is a site that we skipped because we saw some things that are very similar to it, like the Belvedere and the Kunsthistorisches Museum, but this is another big site and it's available to you, so maybe you're interested.
Just wanted to throw that out there because I didn't go.
Consider seeing St. Stephen's Cathedral and visiting the tower, as it's one of the few spots where you can get a high-up view of the city in the old part of town.
So here we are at our final stop, which is the National Library, which includes the State Hall, which is the very picturesque part of the library. And I also just want to apologize because my mic hasn't been working, so I'm also recording on my sunglasses. But yeah, let's go inside. So here we are at the State Hall, and I have this lovely little pamphlet, which I can read about the State Hall as I show it to you. It is in the Austrian National Library, and it's one of the most beautiful historic libraries in the world. Or did that mean historical, meaning history? Historic means great. I guess it could mean both in this case. And so today, the State Hall holds 200,000 books dating from 1501 to 1850. So this State Hall portion is kind of like a museum exhibit. And it also has a reading room as well as a paper museum. So there's a lot to see, and there are separate entry tickets. The reading room is closed the day that I was here. But yeah, this is like embodies the whole Austria, Vienna charm. So pretty cool to see. Overall, my feelings on Vienna are kind of mixed. However, I will say, hands down, would recommend Vienna for tourists. I think it has a lot of good attractions and it's easy to get around. Also, on this note, I will say Vienna has a lot of similar things. So they have a few different castles, and I didn't even go to the really big one there because I already went to similar castles.
And I felt like I was already kind of palaced out, in my European travels.
Same with museums. I love art museums, but I feel like I just hit my limit of I went to one too many art museums, and I think I need to take a break and do like an adventure trip, like my Tulum one or something. It almost kind of feels like Vienna is a big fancy living room where everything is nice to look at, but the kids aren't allowed to play there. There's a lot of looking and seeing. That's a lot of the tourist stuff. And some things I didn't do, like the opera, not the opera. What is that called? An orchestra.
It's actually an opera house with a variety of shows.
They have a lot of shows. It's a lot of looking and seeing. Regardless, it is a very cool and worthwhile spot, so I'm really glad I got to come. So what did you think of Vienna? Have you been? What did you see? What did I miss? Let me know your comments and questions below. And as always, thanks for joining.